Hello, hello. As I close Cultivated Candle Co., I've had many of you submitting questions on Instagram for our CCC Tells All series. And basically, I thought it would be fun to share some of the behind the scenes stories that we didn't chat about when they originally happened. So, someone asked for our craziest pop up market story, and with the story that came to mind, I thought this one needs a video of its own. So, I'm here to tell you a story about our time from when we first started doing shows, when we first started the business. We haven't done markets for a few years now, so this was back in the day. This is a tale of mystery, theft, and sketchy lemonade stand people. What they were serving up turned out not to be so sweet. All right, let's go. The year was 2018, and we got our little business into the Country Living Fair. Now, this was a big deal for us. This was a big market, one of the events, especially because it was put on by Country Living magazine, that we really wanted to get into. We got into it, it was a big deal. I don't even know if Country Living still does this event. So the market weekend comes around, we get set up, we get our booth all ready to go. And during this time, you meet other vendors. You meet the other vendors who are in booths next to you. Because after that initial setup time, the weekend is just very, very busy. So let's pretend I am sitting in the booth that we had for CCC, looking out onto the walkway where shoppers would walk. So to our left, we had a couple selling handmade signs. They had been doing markets since like the 80s. To our right was an open walkway to another part of the market that was behind us. This was an outdoor market. And think when you go to the fair or other outdoor events held at fairgrounds, typically there's main walkways for people to walk through, but then sometimes you have like those grassy side walkways. That's what was to the right of us, in between us and the next vendor or the next booth. So on the other side of that grassy walkway, there was this woman selling beautiful stained glass pieces. We were in the same row. Her booth was also facing the same way as ours in terms of where the entrance was, but we just had that division between us. The setup of all of this is important to the story, I promise. So directly behind her booth, there was a lemonade stand. And typically, if you haven't been to a market before, you're set up in rows of all the vendors, and usually you have booths behind you as well who are facing out another way. So you kind of share like a backspace with another vendor. So behind the woman who was selling stained glass, it was one of those cylindrical lemonade stands that you see at like every fair. You know what I'm talking about? They look like a cup of lemonade, basically. Okay, so here's where the mystery truly begins. So once again, both the stained glass lady and the lemonade stand people share a backspace of their booth. And basically that lemonade stand, they have a door that opens up directly to the back of this woman's booth. This is all important. This was a larger market and it lasted all weekend. And I don't remember which day this occurred on, but we'll say it was Sunday. The older woman to the right of us who was selling stained glass walked over to our booth and asked Jeremy and I if we would watch her booth while she ran to the restroom. She was running the show by herself. Sure, of course, like why not? So while our booth wasn't directly next to hers because of that grassy walkway, we still had a direct view of her booth. And most importantly, we had a view of where customers would walk into her booth so we could keep an eye on if anyone went into her booth while she was gone. So you know that feeling when a stranger asks you to watch things for them if they need to get up, go to the bathroom, something like that. You do it, you stay on guard, you watch their things, and they get back and everything's fine, and you feel like, oh, I'm a good person. I didn't let anyone steal their things, even though no one, not a soul, even walked up to their items. Yeah, that's not what happened next. So we were watching her booth for maybe about 10 minutes. This wasn't a busy part of the market, luckily, like the previous days and the weekend had been. We maybe had 1 to 2 customers stop into our booth while we were watching her booth as well. But we consistently kept an eye on this woman's booth and were certain if someone walked into it. But that's the thing. We didn't see anyone walk into her booth the entire time that she was gone. So she gets back to her booth. We do the little neighborly wave to let her know, we watched your booth. It's all good. It wasn't. A few minutes later, she walks up to our booth and asks if we saw anyone go into it. We say no. She proceeds to tell us one of the pieces that was in the back of her booth is missing. She's now annoyed with us. We just let her know we're sorry and we didn't see anyone. Talk about an awkward moment. Like, this woman definitely thinks we're idiots at this point. So, all of the sudden, like this magical little social sprinkle happens. The people in the lemonade stand start taking so much interest in the woman selling stained glass. And before this time, they hardly greeted each other. They didn't talk to her. Now, let's talk about these lemonade stand people. These people here in Ohio, we all know the look of someone who is on hard drugs. Or maybe they've done them. The appearance of, oh, this person has probably seen meth at some point in their life. It's a look. You see it here, I'm sure it applies to other states, but Ohio has had its problems. And for that, we're aware of what this may appear like in a person. So, this was the aura of the lemonade stand people, especially the woman who was now taking a special interest in the woman selling stained glass. This was odd. Something was off to me about this. The stained glass woman who just realized that one of her pieces were stolen is now getting the friendliest treatment from a woman working at the lemonade stand that opens up directly, you guys, I can't make this up, directly to the spot where the hanging stained glass piece was stolen. The piece was hanging right there. The only way for someone to access that spot in the stained glass woman's booth would be to walk into the booth directly to the back because it was walled on the 2 sides, or unless you had direct access to the back area of the booth from behind, like the lemonade stand people. So I'll just give you guys a sampling of what the sketchy lemonade stand woman was talking about with our stained glass lady. She was all of a sudden asking about all of the products, looking at the products like she was going to buy one of them, asking the woman about her backstory, her family, where she lives, where she's from, how much these things sell for. Just a lot of questions that came out of nowhere. I mean, we had all been around each other the entire weekend. Why were these not things that were brought up originally? Oh, maybe it's because you just stole something from this woman and you're trying to not look like a suspect. Basically, she was buttering up this woman. In my personal opinion, she was trying to not seem like a suspect. Now, we did not see the lemonade stand woman steal this piece, but it only logically makes sense from where the booths were located, where the piece that was stolen was located. And I am always a little suspicious when I see someone buttering someone up, becoming buddy buddy with someone, that they had previously expressed no interest in, especially when they had moments to. Just call me a detective. So eventually, the stained glass lady has a cop come to her booth and take a report. Of course, we're watching this because this is all unfolding in front of us. And we can see what she's explaining when. So she points to us and she tells him that we were supposed to be watching her booth. This woman was mad at us. It's even funnier that when this happened, Jared and I were a lot younger. It's just so awkward. So the cop comes over to us and asks us if we saw anything, and we told him what we told the lady. We didn't see anything. It's not really a busy time right now. We didn't see one person walk into her booth. So naturally, he walks back to her, he's looking around, and he asks her about the lemonade stand people, if they saw anyone, or just he asked her a question about them. And I know this because she immediately responds, "Oh, no, no, no. We've been talking. They're so nice." Okay, I would just like to make a statement that this is where trusting everyone does not go well for you. And I'm not sure, but I was trying to watch the cop, and I feel like he just might have had to pause and take a breath at this time because, he's just taking a report, but it just seems so obvious that it's the lemonade stand people. But this woman was like, nope, nope, it's not them. So he takes a report, and that's that. Just a cold case from the Country Living Fair. So the stained glass lady doesn't interact with us for the rest of the market. And we felt bad for her because she was doing this market all by herself, and markets are hard. There's so much setup and time that goes into them. So we felt bad for her. And also for the rest of the time, we watched the lemonade stand people like hawks. We also were very, very cautious about where our money was sitting. You always want to be like that. But where they were, if they walked past our booth, because we saw them starting to walk around and look at other people's booths, and we got like some weird side eyes from them when they walked past our booth, looking down, not looking up at the products, but looking down. We were just like, no. So we were very, very careful the rest of the time because we really thought that these people were some sketchy individuals. But the fact of the matter is, we will never know if it was them that stole the stained glass piece. We won't know. It will remain a mystery of the Country Living Fair of 2018. But one thing's for sure, it's certainly awkward when you are asked to watch someone's belongings, and while they are gone, one of their belongings gets stolen. I mean, weird things and weird people are everywhere at markets. They are abundant at markets. It's an experience, but that's officially our craziest market story. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will be sharing more of life's crazy moments and stories here in the future and on my website, thatcolleengirl.com. Don't let a meth head lemonade stand salesman steal your shine today.